Greetings, I'm Solidus-Skully and welcome back to Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. Here to once again discuss what exactly did they mean by losing our memories. And yeah, again, we're still pretty early game at this point, but even as you can see right now, yeah, their memories are playing tricks on them and they're having trouble remembering things that quite literally happened to them. Actually, I'm not quite sure how long the time span is between Chain of Memories and Kingdom Hearts 1. I can't imagine it to be too long. I'm guessing maybe like a few, like maybe a day or two at the most. Because, I mean, I know there is a year between Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories and Kingdom Hearts 2, mainly for what happens at the end of the game, but I can only guess it to be a day, otherwise I'd imagine that Sora, Donald, and Goofy would be quite hungry, unless of course they brought something to snack on with them. Which, I mean, is possible. Their outfits do have plenty of belts and zippers to contain, I don't know, like a bar of chocolate or some shit. But anyway, I suppose you're all bringing up the plot point of why the hell didn't they read Jiminy's journal, which contains records, which is the, I don't know, the Pete Best of the Kingdom Hearts trio. But yeah, we'll finally find out what it is, and it is... What? Yeah, the journal's been completely erased. This is a plot point that won't actually be answered until Kingdom Hearts Coded, but yeah, they can't check the journal because it's been completely erased, and well, they're screwed. They have to forget to remember and remember to forget. Oh boy, what a contradiction-y place this Castle Oblivion is. But yeah, again, it's very weird because Kingdom Hearts Coded implies that it's like bugs, but, well, we don't really know what it is. But in the meantime, we have this very random scene of this blonde-haired chick just drawing in a journal. Yeah, that was random, and something that I think was probably a little bit better presented in Chain of Memories, mainly due to, you know, cutscenes. In fact, I'm honestly kind of surprised why they didn't reuse that one clip of her in the opening, because as you could probably tell with the little chibi doll version of her in the cage, yeah, that's the very same person that we saw in the introduction. I don't know, really. It's fascinating, because this journal has bugs, which apparently is meant to be a coded message, which I don't think was meant to be written at this point in time, so I can guess was written posthumously, but yeah, it does kind of speak volumes to the powers at work here. You know, they can erase writings, they can erase memories. That's a bit of a spicy meatball, if I do say so myself. Excuse me there for a second, just adjusting my microphone. But yeah, nothing... Well, it's nothing too strenuous now, but this does build up as the game goes on, because yeah, things are about to get pretty heated as we go forth into each level of the castle. But again, I mean, if nothing else, and one thing I can say to Chain of Memories' strengths is that it really does play upon the bond of, you know, Sora, Donald, and Goofy, which is one of the things about the Kingdom Hearts series that I've kind of always loved about it, is that, you know, for the amount of time that these three have spent together as like a trio, you know, you really do get the idea that they've, you know, grown and bonded on an adventure. I mean, more so for Kingdom Hearts 1 than anything else, because, you know, that was really the one game where they spent the most time together, but, you know, Chain of Memories, you know, Kingdom Hearts 2, Kingdom Hearts 3, I mean, even parts of Kingdom Hearts Coded, actually, even though that wasn't exactly the real Sora, that, you know, it's endearing, man, and that's what I love about it most. Also, this is bizarrely enough the game where Goofy started to go from, well, Goofy to like this sagely dude of wisdom. I don't know if it was something intentionally written in, but I mean, he seems to be the one with the most sound logic in this group, which is utterly fucking bizarre, but whatever, we'll roll with it. Memories of nostalgia from Kingdom Hearts 1 when Sora became a Heartless and Roxas was born. Memories in a place we can never find. But whatever, I've had enough of singing and providing filler commentary. And one thing I think I did forget to point out last time is that whenever you're in these hub world sections, you can basically save, talk to Donald and Goofy for a bit of flavor text, and you can also go back to previous floors via the teleport system that you can see with that orb over there, or continue to go down the previous floors. I don't know, it's interesting, and yeah, we're not going to be going to Monstro just yet, because, well, I do have some things to say about that level. And now we're confronting a level that I probably should have done for Halloween, but screw it. This is Halloween Town, a mysterious realm that is populated by people who love Hot Topic and I guess people nostalgic for the guy who used to be in Child's Play, because I believe it is Chris Sarandon who voices Jack Skellington. I'm not entirely sure. Where the hell did that spotlight come from? Whatever. And anyway, I guess to bring it up in terms of the gameplay, in a slightly similar manner to Kingdom Hearts 1, you do have these characters acting as support cards, you know, in lieu of them being support characters as they were in the previous game. And they do have different sorts of attacks and, you know, sorts of like little stat buffs that they did. I think in a similar reference to how they were in the previous game, just more so adapted for the Chain of Memories card battle system. So, you know, you can use these characters to the best of your ability, provided that you have them as friend cards, which again, if you do have the green cards, which allows friend cards to appear in Battle Zone, then yeah, they will ostensibly be there to help you out and for you to use at your discretion. And for those of you wondering how I'm going to be operating these little segments where, you know, when we enter a world and we exit a world, because I did mention in the Olympus world that I was only going to be showing the story cutscenes for one of the worlds. The only thing I'm really going to be doing here is mainly showing the opening cutscene, because, you know, to establish what the world is, give a bit of an idea as to what exactly is going on here, and the ending cutscene after we defeat the final boss, because might as well give these Disney worlds some exposure, even if I haven't seen a lot of these movies. I mean, I haven't seen Nightmare Before Christmas because, I don't know, I'm not really interested in that sort of, like, Tim Burton kind of thing. I mean, I have seen Mars Attacks against my will, and I have seen The Corpse Bride, if that counts. I don't know, doesn't really, I never really had the interest, to be perfectly honest. In fact, the only reason I really knew about Nightmare Before Christmas was mainly because of, well, Hot Topic merchandise, which I guess a lot of people either have eye for, or they just like because it looks gothic and cool. But I mean, either way, one thing I will say about Halloween Town is that I do enjoy the very gothic look of the place. Yeah, I don't know. It adds a bit of level variety, I think, and it's, you know, one thing that Kingdom Hearts has always been good at is by choosing specific worlds that do have environment variety. Halloween Town. But again, like before, cutting down battles significantly, and really only just showing the ones where I get a level up, or if I get some new slides and power-ups. Again, some might consider this to be a very abridged version of Chain of Memories, but it's the only way that I can really conceivably think of to make the game go a little bit smoother. Because while I do want to play Chain of Memories mainly because of the fact that it is a game that I do like a lot, it is also my foray into a sort of RPG transitional sort of thing, because part of me has been also really wanting to cover games like, you know, Tales of Berseria, Tales of Symphonia and Zestiria, but again, I'm not really sure how I do at RPGs, since they do kind of require a lot of grinding and a lot of different aspects. So I think maybe if, depending on how well Chain of Memories goes, I might expand into other RPGs. Because I mean, besides the Tales of series, I've also been considering doing, you know, Final Fantasy VIII, Knights of the Old Republic 2, and the original Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, actually, because those games are fucking sick. But again, that all remains to be seen. We'll see how Chain of Memories does. Because, I mean, while I can discuss interesting things in terms of the, you know, card gameplay and the story, I'm not really too sure how I'd do it a regular RPG, which, you know, requires, like, nerdy sort of precision. Oh, you see, in the comics, you gotta use your 20+ stat buff with the 5% dual-wielding skill. Shit, which I'm not necessarily sure how I'd do, but, you know, we'll see how things go. Kinda depends on how in-depth I get with the materials. Anyway, we're using a card that increases our attack power with a card, so the cards will be of a higher value, and, well, while it can be a hint and a hindrance in terms of, you know, summoning the certain slights that you want, like, I mean, the card values might be too high to do a sliding dash, but you might be able to do a Zantetsuken. Well, you know, something to use at your discretion, really. But again, I mean, at this point in the game, since you kind of want to break enemy cards as much as you possibly can, I'd recommend going for it. And we have Stun Impact. Not one I find terribly useful, but, you know, I'm not really sure how this... I'm pretty sure it just continues to work in like a progressively building up, so you can't necessarily choose the sites that you want to get, you know, kind of in a similar way that you could in Knights of the Old Republic, where you could kind of choose which powers you wanted and how to level them up, but, you know, might as well get some of the stuff out of the way. Stun Impact can be useful in terms of at least stunning the enemies, but in terms of the other stuff, you're better off just finding specific stuff like, you know, Blizzard Raid, or getting certain other cards from the Moogle shops, which can give you abilities. Like, and again, the one thing that I completely forgot to mention last time was the... it was the Cloud card. Again, get 3 Cloud cards, you get Omni Slash, which is incredibly useful, especially in this game. And, also in, I think it was, like, get 2 Cloud cards and an attack card, and I think you do get Cross Slash, which is a lot better in, you know, the GBA version because of the fact that, I don't know whether it's to do with, like, the limited amount of space in the screen, or if it's just the fact that, because the PS2 versions had widened everything up so much that they couldn't really fit it in. Yeah, basically, you know, Cross Slash and Omni Slash are worth a lot more here, so it is in your best interest to use these cards as much as possible. And that's not to say that they aren't worth anything in the PS2 version either, it's just, I don't know, space things that they didn't really account for. But that being said though, I do think the Cloud cards are something worth having in your arsenal, because, well, it's Cloud, and he's sick, dude. Anyway, while we might be using the key to beginnings right here, it's really just to, well, you know, get towards other specific areas, mainly in terms of getting some more Moogle cards. Well, I mean, the key of beginnings, you know, gotta get our deck shuffled, which, again, is another thing I'm also kind of editing out, because, you know, do you want to be sitting here looking at cards being shuffled? I didn't think so. But, and again, regardless of such, you do still get some specific cards, and, you know, they can be used. I mean, it is always kind of a gamble, but, you know, considering some of the rare finds you can on the odd occasion get, it is kind of worth it because, you know, depending on how high the card values are, you know, you can use these cards at your discretion, especially with item cards. You know, they can reload your stuff, which you do kind of need, because again, if you don't reload them in time, well, you're gonna be shit out of luck and have to exit the battle because, well, you know. Again, and that is something about Chain of Memories that I suppose could be considered a drawback to a lot of people, in the sense that if you run out of cards you can't attack or do anything. And again, and that is, I think, the one legitimate grievance I will give them, because, you know, I do understand that this gameplay style is not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but for me, with the strategic elements in mind, and the fact that you can really customize your deck in a way which, you know, is to your personal liking without any excess convolution, your fucking command meld system from Birth by Sleep, you know, it's something that I can appreciate as, you know, not necessarily reinventing the steel, but something that is very unique, even if it is a little bit oddball in its delivery. And again, you know, while you could easily see this as also being a very boring game to watch, considering that you'll find a few specific cards that you really do enjoy using and you will use them a lot, but, you know, that's part of the fun, just finding which cards, you know, take your fancy and which ones you want to use. And you will get more cards and, you know, different abilities as you progress, so it's fun, man. Whee! And I suppose another thing also in terms of battles that I'll be showing off, it's also to show off different enemy types that appear in these levels. For the sake of adding a bit of variety in terms of battles, but, you know, nothing too strenuous. I've pretty much shown you everything that you need to see in Halloween Town, so let us go inside and face off against Spooky Boogie. And this is also a cutscene I wanted to leave into the game, mainly because of the fact that, well, it does kind of highlight, you know, one of the things I was pointing out earlier, where Spooky Boogie, I'm not entirely sure if he recognizes the fact that he is, like a figment of Sora's memory, or if it's just something else that he's remembering. Because as you can see here, he wanted to awaken his true memories, which he got from the Doctor previously. And, yeah, he's remembering something. Now, I'm not entirely sure what this is meant to imply exactly. I think it's meant to well, again, this is my interpretation here, but I think it's meant to imply that he's awakened to the fact that he isn't real and he's just a figment of Sora's memories, and as such is having a bit of an existential panic right here. But I think also, in terms of another aspect, I think, or I guess maybe the more kid-friendly version, is that he's remembering the fact that Sora, Jack, Donald, and Goofy had kicked his ass last time. I'm not really too sure what to think. I don't think it really fits within Chain of Memories' more atmospheric sort of story, but I don't know. It's interesting to think about nonetheless, even if it doesn't really improve the stories that much. But again, similar to the previous game, well, you're basically just trying to lower the barrier, get on top, and kick Spooky's ass, but what you're also trying to do as well is that, you know, so long as you card break Spooky's cards, you can, you know, ostensibly prevent the rolling dice from launching certain attacks, and again, as the field lowers, you can go to town on him. And he still has the pawn, baby! What is that? What exactly is that supposed to be? Is he saying pawn, baby, or something else? I don't know. But, screw it. It's a battle that I do enjoy a lot. Again, it has a little bit of waiting here and there, but again, it's nothing egregious. And plus, you know, the chance where you do get to attack him feels satisfying, man. I don't know, I seem to find this battle a lot less tedious than it was in Kingdom Hearts 1, although then again, I guess it was mainly down to the fact that you don't have to deal with Spooky Boogie transforming into that giant treehouse with, like, cysts that you have to beat the shit out of. I don't know, it makes things go along a lot faster, which I can appreciate, man. You know, if you really did like pawning things, then you should just go onto eBay where you could pawn, baby. That was probably the wrong time to use that. But again, I think you are probably seeing the pattern, you know, at this point as well. Again, we're basically going through the very same sorts of Disney movies with vague references to memories. Again, it's nothing terrible, and I will admit that in terms of plot progression, these are the weaker aspects of the game. Well, I mean, unless, of course, you really did like these Disney movies as a kid, but, you know, by that same volition, though, it's possible. I would have preferred they maybe did something a little bit more original with the plots in terms of, you know, actually having stuff that kind of focused on the memories aspect a little bit more, but on the whole, I can't really complain, since I guess in the attempt to try and not take away from Kingdom Hearts 2 too much, that it was meant to be a sort of, like, middle sort of breather game, which kind of connects events without exactly, I guess maybe ruining the prologue to Kingdom Hearts 2, in terms of giving it a sense of mystery. Because, I mean, as I mentioned before, this game was initially going to be set on the PS2 before... I'm not exactly sure what. I guess maybe in the attempt to perhaps give people who own a GameCube perhaps a little bit more relevance, or maybe Square Enix wanted to corner the market in terms of having some exclusives, and since Kingdom Hearts 1 did so well, they wanted one on the Game Boy. I'm not really too sure on this aspect. I might have to do more research into that. But again, we did eventually get Chain of Memories for the PlayStation 2 with Chain of Memories, and well, I mean, while it didn't exactly do much to fix a lot of these issues, there's a lot of aspects that that I do kind of enjoy. The fact that it did add a few things, and, you know, pay a bit of tribute to other games in the series, like, I mean, 3-5 had over 2 days, and, you know, a couple of other bits and pieces of the franchise. Again, it's fun enough for what it is, but, you know, it's kind of like the, Sonic Adventure DX, really, where it doesn't really improve things that much, but just adds a few bells and whistles here and there. And that, and it also has Halo Joel Osment post-puberty, so it's really weird seeing Sora at, like, this age, speaking with, like, a very deep voice. I mean, not cartoonishly so, but I mean, it is weird. Sora going like, yeah, what are we gonna do? Sora's like, well, I don't know, Goofy. Maybe we should stop that there anthem. But yeah, we'll finish off things here. We get to see one last look at the Professor, Sally, and whoever else. By the way, weird thing I found out recently, the guy who voiced the Professor in Nightmare Before Christmas was actually the guy who played Andre Toulon in Puppet Master, the original. It's weird, but I mean, cool nonetheless. I mean, Puppet Master was probably one of my favourite Full Moon movies. But yeah, again, we have the same stuff. Oh no, it was a dud. Now, please get the fuck out of our spooky town so we can move on to less horrifying things, because Halloween is over. And Jack wants to have a nightmare before Christmas. Maybe that'll explain why we have this after Halloween. Who knows? Maybe we could die, and everything will be fine. Well. Does the doctor's theory scare you? Again, like, I mean, I'm not really sure what to say about these like, plot points where they try and bring up, like, whether or not Sora's memories are real or not. I mean, I like it, but at the same time it kind of feels like the story is repeating itself, which, I mean, you can kind of bring up with some of the cutscenes that we did see beforehand in the castle with, or at least at this point, because not much is really happening, and they're really just sort of going, hey guys, do you think what that guy said over there, that organization member, is for real? Or, I'm trying to remember something, but I don't remember what, and then you know, immediately cutting over to, well, whatever happens, we'll just keep going forward and find out. But again, that sort of thing is really only for the early parts of the story. I mean, I think a little bit afterwards, as we begin to get introduced to more of the organization members, things do start to pick up a little bit more, and it's, well, that's when Chain of Memories starts to get interesting. Again, it's a little bit egregious that we kind of have to go through this back and forth very early on, but I think at this point, it's fine enough, because, you know, we're still getting adjusted to the card system and, you know, trying to understand exactly what these characters are trying to say. And, you know, plus, we do also have the continued worry about Sora and, you know, his pals worrying about the King and Riku, which, you know, are kind of lost at the end of the first game, so how exactly they're doing is always a matter of concern. But again, I mean, I think it might just be more so a staple of Japanese writing to be very captain obvious about these sorts of things. Or just to kind of remind people of things that happened like 30 seconds ago for the sake of just hammering in the plot beats, I guess. Again, it's a subtle detail, but one that I think can bother people if it, you know, is the sort of thing that does kind of get up in their tits. But I mean, again, early story, I don't necessarily mind it too much, but, you know, as things pick up, I'd rather things get a little bit more intense, which they will. So, join us next time for Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories Part 4. So, I'm Solidus-Skully, keep it new metal, and see ya.